The following program is a Town of Colonie television production of the William K. Sanford Town Library.
Welcome to An Open Door on the Arts. My name is Barbara Richer, and I am your host as we travel the Capital Region, meeting the most incredible artists that so enrich our life. And we have one of those artists with us today. His name is Lawrence Edelson. He is the artistic and general director for the past 3 seasons at Opera Saratoga. He is also the founder of the American Lyric Theater, New York City, in 2005, and he is headed into this season with a fury of amazing programming, and he's going to tell us all about it today. So I'm very, very excited to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me back. Great to see you.
It's wonderful to see you. I'm so excited about this season. I mean, all 3 of the seasons have been exciting, but this one just seems to have something for everyone and be very varied.
That's the goal, exactly.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Well, I think, so many people who aren't necessarily opera fans have some preconceived ideas about what opera is. Mm-hmm. And my goal when putting together a season is really to show what the breadth and variety is that opera can be. Mm-hmm. And so this season has been designed exactly to show that, to show a real classic masterpiece and to show something more contemporary American, and also something that incorporates some dance, something more family friendly as well. So there really is something for everybody.
Just a range of audiences to come and appreciate.
Absolutely.
You're opening, I know, with a program that has not been in at least this area for about 25 years.
Yes, Verdi's Falstaff, his final opera.
Complete wonderful classic.
Oh, it's an extraordinary piece. It's his final opera, and Verdi is well known for many of his more tragic or dramatic operas. But Falstaff is a true comedy. It's inspired by Shakespeare, and it is one of the few operas that I'll say is really truly funny. I mean, it is brilliantly written. The music's incredible. But it is a real comedy, and it gives the singers an incredible opportunity to dive into these really rich characters in a way that some of the other more earlier comedies, or I would say maybe a little more surface in terms of what they do. This is a really sophisticated and brilliant comedy, and we have Craig Colclough, who's one of the leading interpreters of Falstaff in the world right now, coming to sing this for us, which is one of the reasons why I decided to mount the production. Whenever I'm putting together a season and I start thinking about what operas we might do, one of the first questions I have to ask is, well, who's available? Even if I have some fantasy idea about what I might want to present, if we don't have the right singers available, it doesn't make sense to do it. But when I found out that Craig was available and interested in joining us, I said, okay, what can we put this together? And we really have an amazing cast coming together.
It's like it was meant to be.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
That's very, very exciting. Yeah. I have been spending time on your website to catch up with everything that's going on, and even the photography done of the and it might have been another production, but the costuming and the folks, and I think he was probably doing the role.
Actually, yes, and that the photographs that we have of Craig, that's actually the same director. Chuck Hudson created a production for Arizona Opera, and we are bringing those original costumes. So it's a beautiful, very traditional production, and so our audiences here will get a glimpse of that. We have to rebuild the sets because our stage is a different size than that in Arizona, but it's all the same costumes and really a beautiful, ornate, traditional production that our audiences will love.
So I would encourage all of you out there to go onto the website, which you will see at the end of this taping, and look at those pictures. If you're unsure about the production, those I hope will persuade you. The costuming and just the humor that you see in the actors is stunning. So get there. It'll just be an amazing laugh fest and some very serious, beautiful song music to back it up.
I think what's brilliant about it. I mean, it's it's serious, sophisticated music. It's Verdi, of course, and it was his final opera. He was at the absolute height of his creative power, but the music reflects the comedy. It's really bubbling and sizzling, and it just carries you all along and whisks you away into this story. The basic premise of Falstaff, we say that Falstaff was someone who loved wine, women, and money, and not necessarily in that order, And so he's a really kind of lascivious, over-the-top character, and the music embraces all of that.
Yep.
And these women in the story get the better of Falstaff in the end. But it's a really funny story. It's going to be a great deal of fun for the audience.
I have to imagine that you've captured that completely, because you can hear it, feel it, and see it even in the early pictures that you're putting out to promote it.
Thank
so
you. Yeah.
get there for sure,
Absolutely.
the audience. And then the second one, as you said, there are three, and they really invite and embrace the different populations of people, although
Sure.
all populations can enjoy all three of them.
Yeah, well, the second production actually sort of hits two areas that are very important to me. The first is making sure that we're presenting works that are a way to introduce family audiences, children, to opera. It's a version of Beauty and the Beast. I should say it's not the Disney version. It is a version from the 18th century by a Belgian composer, Grétry, who was actually a favorite of Mozart's. So if people like Mozart's music, this is a lot like early French Mozart. This opera was one of Mozart's favorites, and it is called Zamir et Azad. Beauty and the Beast. Zamir is beauty, Azad is the beast. Okay. And we're doing it in a production that involves a lot of puppetry. And this is the first time we're doing something quite like this. I knew I wanted to do the opera, in part because it also incorporates dance. And when I got here a couple of years ago, I knew that there's a big audience for dance in Saratoga. Of course, we have the National Museum of Dance.
Museum down the road.
New York City Ballet is in residence at SPAC. So my own background, I have a bit of a dance background. I was a professional dancer, I say many years ago, but I danced with Boston Ballet and Ballet West. And so the opportunity to combine dance and opera is something that's very interesting to me, and provides an opportunity to sort of cross-populate our audiences. But as I was considering the production, I was actually in New York and saw a production off Broadway of a show called The Woodsman by a young director named James Ortiz, who has been compared to Jim Henson, the brilliant creator of The Muppets and and Fraggle Rock and all these great shows. And what I loved about his work, it involves really sophisticated puppetry, but it's not just the visuals. His puppets seem to breathe and have a heart and a life and have real emotional qualities, And I thought, wow, what could he do with an opera? He's never directed an opera before. And when I reached out to him, he was like, well, that sounds fun.
Oh, my goodness, really?
So we've co-produced this piece actually with another company because it's so large in scale. The Beast itself is a puppet that's about 10 feet tall and is operated by 4 puppeteers and a singer.
Oh, my goodness.
And we collaborated with a company in Milwaukee called Skylight Music Theater. They just actually produced the piece in early March. I was out in Milwaukee to see it. And we're bringing that production here with a different group of singers, but it's going to be something unlike anything our audiences have seen before.
Sounds it.
And really whimsical and fun, fast-paced, so really ideal way to introduce kids. It's the Beauty and the Beast story that everybody knows, but it's with this beautiful music. The music is going to be sung in French. The dialogue is in English, so again, it's a great way to sort of bridge new audiences in.
So the music is in French, but there's dialogue, and that's in English.
Right, and of course we have subtitles for all our performances that are, if the performance isn't in English, we have the projected text above the stage in English, so that makes everything really accessible. Absolutely. And it's not a terribly long piece either, so it's a really great way to introduce families to opera. I think it's going to be something very special for us this year.
And again, going back to the website, there are incredible pictures now. Are those the puppets? That
is the puppet. That Beast puppet is incredible.
Astonishing. That is astonishing. So if that's any example of what the puppetry is, it would be just, you have to get the children, in yourself as children, and I would be a child to come to see this too. Take the whole family. The puppets are amazing.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
And that's a great thing about it. I mean, kids will love this show, but it is for the child and all of us. It is a real wonderful fairy tale for the whole family.
Absolutely. Oh, that's amazing. That's wonderful.
Yeah, we're
what
excited.
a nice thing that it was able to to coincide. A trip to the Woodsman, and all of this grew out of it. And
well, I'm always looking
like
for
the miracle
different
of
people,
theater.
to work with us. The past two seasons we've had Carol Armitage, the wonderful choreographer, work with us, someone who I knew from my dance days. But Chuck Hudson, who's doing the Falstaff, is a director whose work I've admired for many years. And I'm always looking, same with the singers, at different people we can bring in to Saratoga. We have this wonderful small theater. It's about 500 seats.
Beautiful.
And what a lot of people don't realize is that the artists that we bring in are artists who perform all over the globe. Our Zamir this summer is Maureen Mckay, a wonderful soprano who is going to be coming to us fresh off performances of the Magic Flute at the Bolshoi. And here we get her in this beautiful little theater.
Theater,
exactly.
Playing beauty.
Exactly.
Amazing.
And the Beast is Andrew Bidlack, who has recently performed not only at Dallas Opera, but the Royal Opera House in London. So we have these international stars, but they're performing for us here in our own backyard, and it's a really extraordinary opportunity.
You must want to just shout that from the rafters. That's just so wonderful for our region.
Absolutely.
You
absolutely.
are so welcome to be here.
Oh, well, thank you. I love being here.
Stay. And then the third one is one that I'm just personally very excited about. I'm very excited about your season, but The Cradle Will Rock, this sounds wonderful.
Yeah, well, I have a special affinity for it since I'm directing it.
Yes.
I guess one of the benefits of being the artistic director is you get to pick which show you direct, right? So
there is that.
But I've known about the piece for a while, and it's kind of legendary in theater circles, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a moment. But I was thinking about it.
We should say the name.
The Cradle Will Rock by Mark Littstein, and it premiered, or sort of premiered, on Broadway in 1937. And this is the 80th anniversary of the piece. So, but the subject matter, it's like it could have been written yesterday.
Yes.
It's so timely, and it has to do with it's against corporate corruption and corporate greed, and it's a pro-labor piece. It's a left-leaning piece politically, but really doesn't matter whether you're Democrat or Republican. It speaks to a lot of the issues that we're facing in society now that, of course, they were facing 80 years ago. And I thought about doing the piece actually during the Democratic primaries, when it was, Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton going against each other.
Yeah.
And of course, now we have Trump in the Oval Office.
Right.
And it's a very polarizing political time in this country. And as I said, it's regardless of what one's political affiliation is, this piece will speak to you.
Yes, it does.
Because it really brings these issues of wealth inequality in this country to the surface. There's a really, well, let me give you a little premise of what the story is.
Okay.
So it's about Mr. Mister, who is a wealthy businessman who basically tries to control everybody in Steeltown, USA. And so he sort of buys his way to the top by buying off the newspaper, buying off the clergy, buying off the artists, really everyone he thinks he can control with money.
He owns it all.
Yeah, and but the cradle does rock indeed, because there is a pro-labor movement that is shaping up, and they want to unionize. The workers want to unionize. And I think it's a really vital and exciting piece, not only because of the subject matter, but because of what it does musically. It really sort of straddles the lines of music, theater, and opera. It's a piece that has influenced both Broadway and the Opera House over the past 80 years. We wouldn't have the great works by Leonard Bernstein. We wouldn't have Hamilton if it wasn't for this piece. And it was actually funny. I went to see Hamilton. I went to see Hamilton on Broadway while I was considering the season, and there are some incredible similarities in the way that Lin-Manuel Miranda uses rap that would never have been possible had Blitzstein never used the sort of combination of spoken text and music. It's not exactly rap in this piece, but it's the antecedent to it,
Yes.
And it's really pulsing and vibrant. There's a lot of jazz influences. Blitzstein and Kurt Weill were very close. Many people may not know that the English version of the Threepenny Opera that we all know, Mac the Knife, famous song, that was all translated by Blitzstein. And in fact, the reason we know three-penny opera in this country as well as we do is because of Blitzstein. And so it's a really...
he was really a man pushing his times, wasn't he?
Absolutely.
Incredible.
You know, the story behind the piece, is what we to allude to, is that it was being produced. The original team behind this is incredible. 21-year-old Orson Welles was the original director.
Orson Welles.
John Houseman was the original producer, right? I said, wow, I'm doing.
How can you go bad?
Yeah, exactly. You know, but they were producing this under the Works Administration Theatre Project. And it was shut down by the government on its opening night. It was considered to be too incendiary,
right.
And armed guards were stationed outside the theater to prevent them from performing the piece.
And this was back in 1937.
And so Houseman and Wells and Blitzstein got together and said, what are we going to do? And they were not only locked out of the theater, but the performers were restricted by the union. They weren't allowed to perform. The costumes, the sets were all locked into the theater. So they rented a piano, or they got a piano, and they moved it about 20 blocks uptown, thank you. I was going to say uptown, on stage, and Blitzstein was going to just play the piece and sing it himself. He was going to sit at the piano, and the audience all came, and he wanted to show what he had written. And most of the members of the cast sort of followed suit, and there was a pretty full theater, and they were all sitting in the audience. Exactly. And Olive Stanton, who was the actress singing the role of the mole, or the prostitute, in the piece, I should say, you know, that's obviously not quite a family opera if it's not like Beauty and the Beast. Yes, not the prostitute part. But she was sitting in the audience, and as Blitzstein started to play, the mole starts the show with her first song, and she stood up in the audience and started to sing. And one by one, with Blitzstein at the piano, different members of the cast started to rise out of the audience and sing from the audience.
Oh my gosh!
And this became this incredible part of theater history. You know, there's a wonderful film by Tim Robbins called Cradle Will Rock, which sort of fictionalizes but gives you a sense of what happened, the background to the piece. It's well worth seeing.
I want to check that out.
So as a result of that, the piece was later then produced on Broadway, more fully staged, but with piano. And Blitzstein's original orchestration, which is really incredible, very jazzy actually, was not produced on Broadway. And in fact, the last time anyone heard Blitzstein's original orchestrations was over 50 years ago. The only opera company ever to produce the piece was New York City Opera over 50 years ago.
Oh my goodness.
So we are going to be the second production in history to use the original orchestration. And it's very, very special. We'll have the full orchestration that Blitzstein wrote.
And this is the 80th.
And this is the 80th anniversary. And I've invited John Mauceri to come conduct. And John, for those who don't know who he is, Maestro Mauceri is an expert in this repertoire. He was a protege of Leonard Bernstein, and Leonard Bernstein was one of the greatest champions of the music of Mark Blitzstein. So there's a real direct legacy. And Maestro Mauceri is also the conductor for whom the Hollywood Bowl was built. And so to have a musician of this caliber leading our orchestra and our cast.
Wow, at the little theater.
Exactly. It's going to be really incredible. You know, the Cradle Rock was actually performed at the Little Theater years ago with piano by the acting company in a done in a sort of the way that it's most commonly done by theater companies, not with with trained opera singers and not with the full orchestra. But this will be the first time it's being fully realized.
Full orchestra. Opera singers in English.
In English, absolutely.
It's just amazing.
It's incredible.
And it just sounds. Not having seen it, only having read about it, the humor in it also seems.
It's funny, but it's also it's sharply satirical. It's biting. It really talks. It speaks to today.
Yes.
And the cast we have is incredible. We have 6 principal guest artists. Ginger Costa Jackson, who is singing at the Met and the Paris Opera, is singing the Mole for us. We have Matt Bowler singing Mr., who is the wealthy businessman. Audrey Babcock singing
irony
Mrs.
of all the names is so
well. Yeah, and he has Reverend Salvation. His editor daily is the head of the newspaper. But We also, this is a great opportunity for our young artists. We have the second oldest young artist program in the country, as we were talking about earlier,
Yes.
and there are a lot of supporting roles in this piece. And so all these supporting roles are being taken on by members
To
of the Young
incorporate
Artist
your
Program.
Young Artist Program.
And what that does provides an opportunity for these emerging professionals to perform alongside these, world-class artists and really integrated in the performance and the productions. We have young artists in all of the productions, actually, but Cradle has a large number of roles available, which is another reason it was so appealing to me, because it gives a lot of opportunities for them.
And so much opportunity for bringing all of that together.
Absolutely.
This just seems like a perfect vehicle, just a perfect vehicle.
Yeah.
It's just amazing that you found it and that all of those things
We're
kind of
excited.
connected.
And I have to thank the Kurt Weill Foundation has given us a special grant to do this production, or to help underwrite it, and to do it with the original orchestration. So we're very grateful that the Weill Foundation has provided that support this year.
Can I ask, this is a really probably crazy question, but are any of these videoed? Do you end up with any?
We keep archival videos, but there are some restrictions with the orchestra union that we can put little clips online, but we can't put our full productions online.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
we've talked about eventually looking at recordings or radio broadcasts. It's not something that the company has done in the past. It's expensive. The artists need to be paid. I think there are sometimes assumptions. Oh, you can just record it, but the artists need to be compensated.
Yes.
And they deserve to be. All the orchestra members need to be compensated. All the singers need to be compensated. And so it would add a considerable amount to our budget. It's not something we can really do. If there's anyone out there who wants to underwrite a recording, give me a call.
It just seems like this is your only opportunity to see what we're just talking about.
This is very special.
It's not like you can download it or Netflix it or anything. These are amazingly prominent, talented, wonderful people to have here.
Yeah.
But they're going to be gone, and this is going to be over, and you will lose the opportunity to celebrate this if you don't get out and see it live.
It is a very special opportunity, and especially with Cradle, because there are
a lot of productions.
Well, there are recordings of the Zamir Azad. There are recordings of Falstaff, some wonderful ones. There are a couple of wonderful recordings of The Cradle Will Rock with piano, but there is no studio recording of the full orchestration. There's actually a pirated that you can sort of track down of when New York City Opera did it, and it's horrible sound. I mean, I listen to it to study it, but it's all crackly and you hear all the back. So it's hardly, a good, way to be entertained.
Right.
It's a
So
great.
we don't want you to go and look for that one. Because
well, it's a
you
great
won't
study
come.
document for us, who are real, musicologically inclined, and we want to hear what the tempi were when Blitzstein is no longer with us. But it's a study document. It's not something you can enjoy. This is the opportunity to really hear it and enjoy it.
This is the time to
Absolutely.
come. And the show times for, we'll just mention that really quickly,
Sure.
and then I do want to look at your Young Artist Program a little bit too, but these all are being presented in July.
That's right.
And not a really long period of time, so people need to get it together and get
Sure. Well, we have the festival starts with some concerts at the end of May, but the operas themselves are all between July 1st and July 16th.
Right.
So it's a little over 2-week span.
Okay.
There are 4 performances of Falstaff, there are 3 performances of Beauty and the Beast, and there are 4 performances of The Cradle Will Rock.
Okay.
And they all take place during that span.
Okay, so do get to the website and see what your July plans are, because it's not like they're showing these all summer long.
Yep.
They're very condensed in their time frame. But the whole thing, promoting everything that you're doing and introducing all of us to it, begins much sooner than that.
Right. We actually have 7 weeks of programming over the summer. We bring in over 100 different artists and technicians to put the festival together. So they're with us for a 2-month period, and our first concert that we do actually features the young artists. We have a concert that we now do every year to start our festival called Stars of Tomorrow.
Okay.
The Young Artist Program, as I mentioned, or you mentioned actually, it's the second oldest in the country. And
After Santa Fe.
Yeah, Santa Fe started, I believe, just a year before for our program. And the demand for the program is quite extraordinary. We have over 1,000 applicants, and we accepted 29 artists. And the math behind that, it's actually harder to get into this program than it is to get into Harvard. I mean, so it's really remarkable.
Oh my God.
But these artists are featured in a concert on the first event of the season, which will be at Skidmore College, called Stars of Tomorrow, where you get to hear 25 of these artists, the singers. We also have directing fellows and conducting fellows in the program.
Wonderful.
But these 25 singers will perform, so you get a taste of this incredible talent. And then these artists are featured in a variety of concerts throughout the season, as well as all three of the operas that we've been discussing.
And I have down here that you're performing these all over. The Carriage House at the Mansion Inn in Saratoga is a site. The Spa Little Theater, it will be a site of the Young Artist Program presentations too. Skidmore College, the Filene Recital Hall, and I was surprised at this, Proctor's.
Right, absolutely. Well, we're doing a special concert at Proctor's to celebrate Mark Blitzstein on the night of the 80th anniversary of the premiere, or of the when it was shut down, the premiere, with the almost premiere of The Cradle Will Rock. We're doing a special concert at Proctor's, which is Mark Blitzstein, A Life in Song. And this will feature a select group of our young artists, and Justin Hopkins, who was last with us in 2015 in the world premiere of The Long Walk. He's a principal artist.
Yes.
He was up at SPAC last year singing with the Philadelphia Orchestra in one of the Pops concerts. He's a world-renowned artist, and he is singing the role of Reverend Salvation in The Cradle Will Rock. He will be working with a number of our young artists on this special song program to really give people a sense of who Blitzstein was. He is, in the opera world, best known for the opera Regina. Of course, he's known for The Cradle Will Rock, but he wrote a number of other theatrical pieces, as well as a large number of songs. And so this is a free concert. So is the Stars of Tomorrow is also a free concert.
That's wonderful.
But it's a free concert at Proctor's.
That's a free concert at Proctor's.
That's
I
right.
don't have the date. And
That is on the, I have to look at my calendar. There's
Oh,
so many
I'm sorry.
things. No,
I'm
I
sorry,
didn't bring my
I'm putting you on
glasses
the
either
spot.
today. No, but we have so many events. It is on June 16th, on Friday, June 16th.
Okay,
Yes.
so you could see, so people could see that for free.
Absolutely.
And come to see The Cradle Will
Exactly.
Rock,
We'll
and
give you a
it'll be-
little taste of Cradle on that concert.
Okay.
So,
So that's
that concert's a great
good way to ease
introduction to
into
his
it.
work. Absolutely.
Larry, we have about 2 minutes left.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Where have we left off? What else would you like us to know?
Just to know, there are really a wide variety of concerts. There's a Gilbert and Sullivan concert called Wandering Minstrels this summer. There are actually 2 performances. We have a Broadway in the 1930s concert, a celebration of that era on Broadway, which really actually straddled opera and musical theater. Porgy and Bess premiered in 1936, a year before The Cradle Will Rock. So there's that happening. We have our gala this year, Opera on the Lake, up at the Lake George Club. We
Very
have an
important.
opening night dinner, Falstaff's Feast on July 1st.
Very important.
There's so much to do. A lot of this programming is free. We have very modestly priced tickets and special programs with discount ticket prices. So I would encourage people to check out our website. There's lots of ways to engage with Opera Saratoga this summer, and we would just love to welcome everyone and to see really what the breadth and variety of opera can be.
Well, I remember talking with you 2 years ago when you came here about how you wanted to do this reach out, and you wanted the happy tentacles of the opera to be out in the community everywhere. And I can see 3 years later that you have just massively succeeded in figuring out how to do that.
Right.
Now we just need to keep encouraging the people to take advantage of the very wonderful free things, the very modestly priced other things, come to the galas, it's the time to support something very special in our midst.
Well, we're here for the community. That's why we exist, and that's why we're doing the programs during the year, but it's why the variety of what we do in the summer is so important, to really make sure we're providing access to opera for everyone, and that's why we're here.
And that's exactly what you're doing. So, and we can end by saying they're building audiences, and this I also got from the website, 25,000 folks annually.
Something to be very proud of.
Oh my God.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when the first started, it was like 265 people.
Yeah, the very first performance. It was a while ago,
It was
but
way long ago.
We've come a long way since then.
Yes, a long ways.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Oh, my
Thank
pleasure.
You so very much
Thank
for
you for
being
having me
here.
back. It's a
Yes,
wonderful
I
pleasure.
Can't wait to see you several times up there.
I look forward.
It's going to be wonderful. take advantage. Go to the website to see what's there. It's stunning. It's manageable. It's reasonable. It's interconnected. It's learning. It's appreciating, enjoying. It's back. Opera, Saratoga Opera, this summer, right in our back door. I hope I see all of you there to every event, or at least 6 or 7. Happy summer. Thank you.